It's a beautiful evening. Welcome to Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On today's edition of the show, our focus will be on the US Open that is ongoing in New York at the Billie Jean Arena. We'll also talk about Victor Osimhen. Yes, Victor Osimhen. We'll talk about him this evening. And of course, I also focus at take a look at what is happening at the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yeah, we hear that 19 players have arrived. Many more will be top on the conversation here this evening on Sports Extraordinary. The extraordinary things we have to talk about this hour. We're going to be back after these short timers. Alright, welcome back from that break. It's still Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. Emmanuel Michael is in the studio. Mike, a lovely evening. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening, Temple, and good evening to our viewers out there.
Alright, let's get started this evening. And of course, let's take you through the happenings. And we'll start with happenings in basketball where hostility began today. Of course, one of the games is already done and dusted in the Women's Basketball League. Where we saw that the league will stage in Akure, Ondo State, and Lafia, Nasarawa State, respectively. Now, the indoor sports hall of the Akure Township Stadium is the venue of the Atlantic Conference, which has 8 teams competing for honors. They are First Bank, Delta Force, MFM, Deep Waters, Dolphins, IGP Queens, Bayelsa Waves, and Sunshine Angels. According to the fixtures released by the Nigerian Basketball Federation, First Bank and Delta Queen will meet in the first match of the center, just as the defending champion MFM will tango with First Deep Waters. Also, today there will be a game between Akure between Dolphins and IGP Queens, while Bayelsa Waves will engage Sunshine Angels. In the Savannah Conference, City Hall, Shadam will Lafia is the venue for the 8 other teams battling for final slot. Today, Airwalls will vie for honors against Titans. Nigeria Custom will face Royal Aces. Kada Angels will clash with Plateau Rocks, just as Nasarawa Babes will tango with Niger Army in the final match of the day. The first and the second phase, expected to start later this month, will be completed for a round in the round-robin format, which 4 teams, each from each of the 2 conferences, will book a ticket for the final in Lagos. 8 teams fighting for this year's title, and of course, a lot of preparation. The sponsors are talking tough, and have charged our participants to ensure that they use this year to embrace the spirit of friendliness. Also, the president of the Basketball Federation, Musa Kida, has assured that all is set for the competition that is already on the way. Mike, the Women Basketball League is on, and of course, the different teams are already prepared for the preliminaries from Akure down to Lafia to be basketball fiesta.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a nice one to see that our basketball league have kick-started, because we need this kind of a healthy, basketball championship to keep our players going, and to also, select some of the best hand that will also, in future represent the senior national team. Don't forget the big name players in the D Tigers, the likes of Ami Okonkwo, the likes of Ezine Carlo, the likes of Amakamura. They one day bow out of the big stage, and we need some reliable hand, to also take the baton of leadership from some of these big name out. And of course, when you have a very healthy league up and running, it makes it even more easier for us to get to hunt talents out there, because we have talents, cut across the 36 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. And of course, if you actually watch last season edition, MFM were very, very good. They were on top of their game. In fact, they won the last season edition. And one of their key players also voted as some of the best players of the tournament, for last season. So for me, I think it's a great one. Lots of IGP Queens as well, not doing bad at all. The police team, I think they're also doing pretty well. And other teams which boast of good players are there. So for me, I'm just excited that the league has kick-started NS in NS. And I want to also, urge the man talking about Musa Kida, to also be up and doing. We still have some areas to also finalize, to put finishing touches in terms of the organization of the league, in terms of getting sponsor right on time, so that we don't keep, crying for sponsor, because that has been the bane or the challenge of the league here, not getting sponsors on time. So for me, I think I'm very, very happy to see that the league have started in NS. Don't forget, Nigeria, when it has to do with basketball, I think we are on the rise. We've actually, dominated the continent of Africa in terms of women, and even the underage group as well. So I think it would do us good if our league is properly organized, so that at least we don't look for outside players to come and take up, their position in the national team. So whenever we get for any major championship, we can easily rally around some of the clubs, some of the teams right here in the country, and select very capable players that is going to do the country proud.
Select capable players that will do the country proud. I truly agree with that, and also align with that thought. And if you ask me, we still have a lot of persons who are willing, to do the needful when it comes to player selection and impact. So, Mike, very correct there. But I think that the sponsorship from the sponsors partnering with them already, making that the sponsors have been there for the last 4 years. They're very consistent. Just like we have handball, too,
yes,
and volleyball.
Yeah.
These are 3. I know of the sponsors that have stuck with them in the last 4 years with these federations.
Yes, they've been very, very consistent for the last 2-3 years, talking about the sponsor. But we need more sponsors,
true.
Because you don't just rely on one sponsor. Anything might happen anytime, any day, and you begin to run helter-skelter to look for sponsors or even sport philanthropists. And it's even better that you get more like 4-5 sponsors out there. Of course, the money that they accrue goes to the coffers of the Nigerian Basketball, Federation, and that makes it even more easier. So for me, I think they should also do a lot in terms of getting more sponsors, because we are going to see a whole lot of competition. When you have more sponsors in the league, it gives the league that beauty. The organization become more top-notch, because most of the organizers will be hoping, to see something different, to actually see where their money is going to. So when you rely on one sponsor, at least sometimes it's not always good, because anything at all might just happen, and you begin to, run helter-skelter. That is why it is always good. You have more sponsors, 2, 3, 4, then, let them compete for the slot, and it makes it even, just like what we saw in the last African Cup of Nations, where Patrice Motsepe came in, and he was able to change the narrative. It was no longer, business as usual, where only one sponsor just come in, buy the television rights, and you go and make a whole lot of money, thereby not allowing other media houses to take claim. But this year's African Cup of Nations is different, and CAF actually amassed a whole lot of money, more than what we used to get in before, because they threw it open and sponsors came in and they vied for it, and the highest bidder went home with it, and that means
the high bidder is circulated.
Exactly.
So the right,
exactly. So
it makes it very easy for them to even make their money.
Sure.
And also others.
And that is what we are advocating, that you should get more sponsors and don't just rely on one sponsor out there.
Very interesting. I mean, sports they say is business, and basketball same is also business. And of course, if you see, look at the way in football, the way Nigerian board, Premier League board are going about sponsorship. There's a popular TV program that is ongoing. Is a very popular. It has more than 10 sponsors. It's on as I speak to you. We are, that's entertainment. We talk more of sports that is educational. So I asked myself, I said, no, it's the issue of sponsorship is because we have not built a brand where people trust it. And that goes back to what you keep saying about trusting a brand. If people trust a brand and they can make profit back to it, people believe in the system. I mean, you see, and that's what is happening in football. So I think that Musa Kida, yes, they've partnered with this brand for a very long time, which is fine, because commercial bank, yes, but beyond commercial bank, there are other corporate organizations that can be part of it. The moment there is sponsorship, the clubs that are participating, the club, I mean, they spend more. They need some financial leverage. Okay, for example, a team leaves here and travel to Lafayette State. The logistics of the team is not bared by the NBBF. The logistics of the team is bared by the state that they are representing, or the owner of the club. And everything about them, the only thing that the players have to get is just one winner who gets to claim the sole prize. But before then, a lot of logistics. I'm not saying that the amount of money teams spend, whether in football or in basketball, can be equated to the amount, the money, the prize money. But I'm saying that when there are sponsors, there will be some leverage, incentives, motivation. Like we have seen in football, where some sponsors came in and then say, okay, so club, you're going to get like this at the end of the day. It's not about the prize money alone. So I think those incentives are necessary for us to get to see a happy club, because even the administrator that is spending, Mike, also needs some form of thank you in return. But whether he wins or not, they need that appreciation and motivation.
Definitely. One of the ways that makes or propels some of the sponsors to come in is because they are going to use that as an avenue for them to sell their own goods and services as well. Don't forget, as the league is going on, you go through the basketball court out there, you see some insignia, around the basketball court out there, displaying their products and services out there. It's more like giving them that platform to also advertise their product as well. So for me, because nobody will want to come and invest, he put his money where he will not make any gain or whatsoever. So for me, I think it is very needful, because that is where they also get to recoup back some of the money that have put in terms of trying to sponsor the team as well. Give them that platform so that they also display their goods and services, because via that they also attract people that is going to key into their
and that brings me to the question of have we really created social platforms? Do we have the fan base to sell these products? Do we have the audience that want to see these products?
I think we have. You need to just take a look at Rivers basketball team.
Hoopers.
Rivers Hoopers, and they just concluded African Championship. Never in a time where you think that people love basketball that way. But when Rivers Hoopers begin to make their mark out there in the African Championship, you saw the many followers through their social media handle. That is where you get to know that people are not one, not two, not thousands, not 100, but in millions followers of the basketball. So we have the platform. It's about getting the things right. For example, the Nigerian Basketball Federation, if they actually create their social media handle in a way that will be very effective and very timely as well, because information dissemination is about timely. Is very,
Timeliness.
I mean, it must be very, very timely. Just like you are dishing out news is as well very timely. You know, so when you bring it very timely and package it in a way that will be very viable, I tell you, you're going to attract a whole lot of followers out there, and that by so doing, you are building on the gains that you've achieved over the years. So we have much followership. It just boils down to we doing the right thing.
We're doing the right thing, and I hope that the MBBF that are listening, they're watching, and of course they're learning on some of these, panacea that we have profiled, on shows like that. And that's the essence of this show. We talk so that they can hear and change the narrative. We want to see a lovely society where sporting excellence is displayed across different strata. All right, let's go that now. Let's still talk about still in basketball. Earlier today, the news of was it late yesterday? The news of 18 players denied, the under 18 boys being denied visa by the South African embassy. Came up, and a lot of persons have been reacting. This afternoon, I heard a counter one that looks like that visa has been given them. So as it stands now, I don't know the stand whether a formal news of the result of the visa issue, whether the team have been granted visa. But we hear that this is not a very good one for them. If till now that has not been done, Mike.
Yeah, it's a very sad news that we heard at the early hours of this morning. I don't know by now if they have been able to resolve that visa issue. We hear that the consulate of South Africa out there in Abuja had actually denied them a visa. And they were supposed to have their match today.
Today, yeah.
Their first game was supposed to kick off today. So when they are denied visa and being delayed, at this point, I don't even know whether they have actually rectified that issue. But whatever be the reason, even if they had granted them the visa today, going out there today, are you still going to meet up with your game? Even if you meet up with the timing, the morale will be dampened. Psychologically, the players will be weighed down. Of course, they heard of the news, and psychologically, they are imbalanced as it is right now. So for me, I think this is what we keep saying, that our administrators need to be up and doing, because you are having such a major championship, and you're having less than 24 hours before the championship. That is when you begin to, rally around for visa. Something that you should have sorted out, about a week ago. And
they were already there.
Yeah, some of the officials were already there. So the South African embassy or consulate is right here in Abuja. So what stops the body, talking about the Nigerian Basketball Federation Authority, doing due diligence by going out there to sort this thing out? You don't wait until late hour before you start finding a plan B. It doesn't work that way. That is why we keep saying that our administrators, most time they are the bane of the challenges that we are having here and there in terms of sport development.
Very unfortunate, but I hope that this issue will be nicked to the board. The players will still have time. If not for anything, the players will be very discouraged. Some of them have trained, some of them have prepared, some of them have come far to be in this youth championship, and denying them of visa is like degrading them. In fact, visa issue should not even be something we should be talking about for a nation going to a championship, because that should be the least. But I also think that South Africa will not go scot-free. I don't know how they deal with matters like this, but I still feel that FIBA should do something about it.
For sure, I think so. Sometimes there is this hanky play when it has to do with maybe senior national team against, especially when you have a long-standing rivalry, among yourself. Because over the years, in terms of sport, I think Nigeria and South Africa it's been a one-way traffic. I think Nigeria have actually dominated them in every angle. We talk about the North African team as well. Sometimes when our clubs went to play out there in the CAF Champions League, they deliberately deny you visa. They don't even allow you to access certain facilities. Even some of the stadium where you were supposed to train before you get, they deny you deliberately. So for me, I think they need to work that out. If there is need be for a sanction to be imposed against the South African authority, I think they should do it so that to avert future occurrences of this kind of setback.
About future occurrences of this type of setback, let's move away from basketball now, and let's bring you some Formula One news where McLaren are to consider imposing team orders in favor of Lando Norris in an attempt to beat Max Verstappen to the Formula One Driver World Championship. I think we discussed the matter internally after Norris' teammate Oscar Piastri finished in second place in the Italian Grand Prix ahead of the Briton but both were beaten by Ferrari's Charles Leclerc just by starting with a front row lockout. Mike, you know what is happening right now?
It's about the team having the final say on who become maybe more like their flag bearer.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
Yes, and they are trying to see if they can be able to push one of their
change wings.
Yeah, so that his point as well will also
go high. With 62 points difference between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. One should think that maybe if he had come first, because if you come first in Formula 1, you get 24 points.
Yes.
You come second, like 19 points thereabout, and then third gets like 16 points. So they're thinking that if the man had come second, that 3-point loss to that got him would have been fair. We saw this back then during the era of, I think it was it a certain Lewis Hamilton and so one of the former guy, forgetting his name right now. Okay, the Finland international. No, Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher, of course, was in Ferrari. We saw the teammate of Hamilton back then in the Mercedes before we saw this man, it's a London guy came in. But I think that what the team is doing is normal with teams, constructors. They have that final say of saying, okay, you are doing well, we want you to move on. Yeah. So, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. We saw it clearly with even Max Verstappen and Perez.
Yes.
At one point, Perez was winning. Unfortunately, too, by the time they made that order, Perez also started fading out. Yeah. The same thing also happened between Charles Leclerc and who is the second driver for Charles Leclerc for Ferrari. It also happened when he was getting it all right. All of a sudden, that there was this shift. So I think that team have a way of saying, okay, if the second driver is doing well, the first driver you have to, or in the case of Charles Leclerc, he was the first driver, and then they had to say he should come down below. Even Lewis Hamilton again and his teammates, what is his name? It comes to my head. That guy also had the same issue where at some point he was doing better than Hamilton, and they had to allow him to flag the flyer. But sometimes it doesn't work. That's my concern. In the case of McLaren, yes, we saw Lando Norris, who is currently doing well, but if they had an agreed internal constructors arrangement, and it depends on what Ferrari want to achieve, because sometimes it's about building your point. You never can tell when you're going to come out second again or close to the podium. So sometimes drivers will not agree to it, to say you step down for your big driver, let him go front when you have the opportunity to win. Sometimes they say no, don't go, come back. They'll call you from the radio, don't go. I mean, but this arrangement, I don't know how it can be sweet, it can be good, but sometimes it can be very sour.
It can be very sour. Sometimes the drivers they are not even happy about
exactly
it
on
their own, because you can't put in so much effort instead of you to finish within the podium.
And then you have to step down for the Honda.
Yes, but that is the team principal order. They make the final decision. They call you on radio, drop down so that your second will overtake you. So for me, I think it's about trust on who they think is going to be a proper flag bearer for them. But then it doesn't actually augur well sometimes. It can even create an animosity between the same teammate in a certain construction.
Lewis Hamilton and Marco Rosberg. It happened during that time when they were together. In the Mercedes setup, Rosberg was doing so well before Hamilton came. At some point, Hamilton took over, and the team dynamic changed in favor of Hamilton. So, and that brought a lot of enmity, because it was both of them now challenging for honors. Then it was not even about Michael Schumacher anymore. It was both of them challenging for honors, winning. So the animosity is there in every race. It's about Mercedes challenging for honors, and come on, you don't want to go back to those dark days.
I thought we don't want to. But then it is the team order. Their order is final, and that is what it is in the world of Formula 1.
All right, let's move away from that. And our last story on LA Sports this evening is about what is happening at the 144th edition of the U.S. Open in New York. And world number one, Iga Swiatek, moved confidently into the U.S. Open quarter-finals in a straight-set victory over Ludmila Sasanova. At first, the young lady gave her a very strong push, but then that was not enough to stop Iga from putting up what she knows how to do best. And this is just the second time she has reached the last 8 at the Flushing Meadows. The last time she did that, she went on to lead the trophy in the last 2 previous times that she has gotten to this level. Are we going to see another history repeating itself again?
Just maybe for Iga Swiatek, who has been a very great player, have dominated the WTA in terms of the #1 ranking for months right now, and it's looking likely that she might just make this one count. Don't forget, so far this season, I think she has done pretty well for herself. But then, like you know, the WTA is always very, very competitive. And again, the defending champion of this year's edition have also been hosted out of this competition. This might be the ajay for Iga Swiatek to make this one count for herself. But then, there are still some obstacles, you know, that she needs to cross over before she actually dream of lifting this very one.
At Flushing Meadows, Iga will face Jessica Pegula, who in herself got to the quarterfinals yesterday. Also, unseeded Caroline Muchova is into the quarterfinals after she upset 5th seed Jasmine Paolini. Muchova, who made the semifinals last year in New York, came back from 3-1 first set deficit to beat the Italian 6-3, 6-3. When we were on radio yesterday, Mike, we talked about this particular Muchova. Paolini was 3-1 up. I was thinking that looking at what Paolini has achieved this season, maybe she would just be the favorite. Unfortunately, like you said, sometimes you know, the game can have a difference altogether. Surprisingly, Muchova from nowhere came in and got that particular one.
Yeah, like I told you yesterday, that it's going to be a game of who wants it most. Muchova, trickery and strength, you know, and the way she serves her ball out there is very, very impeccable. She's very fast and very strong. She hits the ball very hard, and if you are not careful, you know, she can just, you know, finish you with just 2 or 3 serves out there. So, and this is one of the things that I always love in terms of the WTA, because a whole lot of competition, you can never, you know, write off any player out there until the final minutes of the game. So for Muchova, it's a big, big congratulations for her.
A big congratulations for Muchova. And of course, let's talk about the ATP. Daniil Medvedev is on the showcase, dropped just 4 sets as he breezed into Nino Buges to secure his place in the US quarterfinals. Champion in New York 3 days ago was barely troubled by the Portuguese in a 6-love, 6-1, 6-3 win. For Daniil Medvedev, is the only former US Open champion left in the draw, and the only Grand Slam single champion other than Jannik Sinner, who could potentially face, but they will face each other because Jannik Sinner is through. So Jannik Sinner defeated him in January this year, and in the quarterfinals, we're going to see the both of them clash again.
Yeah, it's going to be another clash of titans. We hope to see the best of tennis out there between these two, you know, powerful players. After that, then we are going to see another big game, maybe Taylor Fritz and maybe Taylor Fritz as well. Having crossed the quarterfinal as well, we're hoping as well to see, you know, if he can be able to make this one count. I think for me, for the ATP, I'm very, very excited, because some of the favorite names that you expect, you know, to make this one count for the last Grand Slam of the year has all been knocked out. The defending champion, Novak Djokovic, has been knocked out. Carlos Alcaraz, the young star, has also been knocked out. You know, so for me, I think it's very exciting to see some of the young lads still very much around, trying to make a big name for themselves. The likes of Jannik Sinner, you know, the likes of Taylor Fritz, Defoe as well, also still very much around, and so I feel it's going to be a very exciting one. But one thing is very certain, that it's going to boil down on who wants it the most.
Who wants it the most, and then I get to see how far it goes. Like I said, Zverev is one player who has done so well for himself, but yet to win a Grand Slam. And, you know, he lost in the finals of the Wimbledon. Was it Wimbledon or not Wimbledon? I think that was French Open to Alcaraz. So let's get to see how it all goes. And with that, now we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll start with the camp of the Super Eagles. We hear that 20 players have arrived at the camp, and we'll bring you up to speed with all the players and what next now for the team. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. All right, it's time to talk football matters on the show now, and we'll start from the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. You know that it is the international window, and all the national teams are preparing and getting up for different qualifiers, some friendlies and all that. So for Team Nigeria in Africa, the AFCON qualifiers begins this weekend. A lot of play from tomorrow, already Friday and all that. So, but Nigeria, our first game will be against against Benin Republic on Saturday. 5 p.m. is the time, and so players already started coming up. The camp was formally opened yesterday, but then a lot has transpired. So let's take you through some of the happenings, and I can tell you for sure that 20 players are now in camp. The captain, William Trosekong, led, of course, arrived yesterday with the LS bed. The LS bed, of course, which also included the likes of Olaina, Semia Ajayi, Olisanda, midfielder, Bisayo Dele Bashiru, and forward Ademola Lukman, as well as Taiwo Awoniyi. Goalkeeper Amas Abasoji and midfielder Wilfred Ndidi were in tow, and forward Victor Boniface and goalkeeper Stanley Wale joined yesterday evening. This morning, defender Calvin Bassey and midfielder Alex Iwobi, as well as Frank Onyeka, came into the camp before Benjamin Taminu, who was drafted in to replace Bright Osayi Samuel, came into. Al Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi and forward Moses Simon and Samuel Chukwueze landed. In the evening, just before the team bus pulled out of the hotel for the evening session, Bruno Onyemechi of the Portuguese Bovesta and midfielder Rafael Redika of Belgian club arrived in the camp. Forward Kelechi Iheanacho is due in camp tomorrow, while goalkeeper Maduka Okoye and forward Victor Osimhen are being expected to join on Thursday. Looks like the coach will now have a full complement of the squad that he wants to play with.
Yeah, the Super Eagles camp, have come alive as 20 players have arrived. As at yesterday, 8 p.m. in the evening, we just had about 11 players in the camp. But this morning and this afternoon, some of the players have started arriving. I think it's about 3 players that is yet to hit camp. Victor Osimhen expectedly, will hit camp very soon, because going by the transfer we are hearing to Galatasaray, he need to finish up final touches, before he arrives. And for Maduka Okoye as well, we're still expecting the Udinese safe hands to also hit the camp. I think for me it's a very exciting one. When you have a full complement of the players out there, it helps the coach and make the job more easier, so that you don't get to repeat yourself or begin to talk separately to other players, because you need to talk to them in units, so that you don't even need to stress yourself going to talking to them, one after the other, even though there is need to talk to one of them per time. But then there's this unity of purpose that when you get to talk to the players togetherness, I mean, they see reason, to also up their ante. So for me, I think I'm very excited. Being that coach Austin Eguavoen is a no-nonsense coach. We've seen him in the past. I think he's a disciplinarian. With his backroom staff, talking about Fidelis Ilechukwu and the coach of Remo Star, talking about Ogumo Dede this time around. I think these are disciplinarian by excellence. So we expect some of the players to start hitting camp very early. As at yesterday, over the weekend, some of these players played in their different club side out there in Europe, but then they still deem it necessary to hit camp very early, because they know the man at the charge of affair right now is a no-nonsense man. So for me, I think he's a good one. Let's hope that they can be able to gel properly, and let's hope that Austin Eguavoen is going to properly pass his tactics into these few players, so that come 7th of September we can get all 3 points against the Scures of Benin Republic.
Mike, what came to my mind is, what does it take a player to prepare to meet up to the invitation of the national team?
First, you need to take a look at your club engagement. Okay. Secondly, you have to think about your psychological well-being, because in fact, this is one of the key players. The key thing that players, especially from the European scene, does. Psychologically, if you are not psychologically fit, you don't even want to be invited, because you are not going to give your all. So it takes a player readiness, it takes a player properly perusing through the club's calendar games, to be able to hit camp. After all, you played your weekend game, and there's nothing again. Even if you were playing for your club side and you played on Saturday, and you are having a Champions League on a midweek, you will not say that I played on Saturday, therefore I'm not coming to training until so. It's just that when they get to Africa here, they begin to behave differently. I don't know, maybe, you know, the color pigmentation sometimes is a key factor. That is why when they go over there, they don't misbehave anyhow. But when they come here, they find it difficult.
Who pays the flight ticket?
Of course, the NFF pays their flight ticket for a national team honor. The NFF must pay your flight ticket. It is the responsibility of every FA to send your flight ticket direct.
You think let's be real. Is it in all cases? Like Victor Osimhen, you think the NFF will pay?
Yes, of course. Even if you are the world best, you have much more than everybody on earth.
Is it? I mean, we are live on TV now.
Yep.
The NFF will pay for Victor Osimhen to come to the national team?
Sure.
When they're crying for fun?
Even Portugal paid the flight ticket of Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the biggest or richest player on planet Earth. The Portuguese national team still pays his flight ticket. So this thing
that's the only thing they can do for him.
This thing are just traditional. You don't need to negotiate about it.
A lot of things happen behind the scenes that we may not know, but
for sure, except
on negotiated terms.
Exactly, like Mikel Obi during his time when he wanted to come and play for the under 23 in the Olympic. There was no money, you know, for the NFF to front this team, but Mikel Obi single-handedly sponsored the team from his pockets. You know, today people still revere him because of that act of kindness that he did. So for me, but it is the responsibility of every FA to send the flight ticket money to the respective players.
So
for them
invariably, the moment you cook up your name, you also prepare your ticket voucher.
Simple.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
They contact you.
Yeah.
You prepare a ticket voucher, and then those plannings are
just like the athlete that went to represent Nigeria in the just concluded Paris Olympic game. You don't expect them, you know, to pay their flight ticket down here to go to the. No, they send their flight tickets.
So, apart from the home base, all the foreign athletes that came, the athletic expedition were in charge of the ticket.
Definitely, they were in charge of their ticket, and that is how it is. It is best global practices around the world of sport generally.
So you can now see. I mean, we've talked about for you. We've unraveled some deep depth of some of the things you don't get to see. I mean, these things people don't get to talk about them. But we'll talk about the beauty of the show. Sports extraordinary. We'll go out the extraordinary lane to look at the things around, administration that happens beyond the field of play. And then let's talk about Victor Osimhen, guy. Victor Osimhen will be coming in on Thursday. Is he in the right frame of mind to play these qualifiers?
I think that heavy burden, that heavy stone that has been, hung on his neck has been, let off right now. I think he can breathe a sigh of relief right now that his future is very, very clear. The coast is very clear for him. He saw the the Galatasaray fans, they had to wait on the 3 a.m. This morning just because they want to have a glimpse of Victor Osimhen. And of course, you saw how happy, he was. You can see the excitement in his face, literally. I mean, he's a man that has, fulfilled his mission of not backing down. In fact, he had to compel Napoli to adhere to his clause, and not Napoli right now holding him.
And that's very funny, Mike. At what point was that seriousness, to make a decision? That means regardless of all that has played out, Osimhen has never decided, as in the love for Napoli could just be the reason why he has just stayed calm. But when he saw foul play, that could have prompted him to act, to make that formal decision, and that was final. Definitely, and I think I must appreciate that decision. He stood his ground, despite the fact that Napoli was trying to play the monkey business, but then he stood his ground. They were like demanding him to cut down his personal wage bill, whereas Napoli is not ready to cut down their own price of 130 million euros, which is one of the reasons why clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, clubs like Chelsea, even ran away. The Saudi Pro League side that came, the money bags, they came in, but then looking at Victor Osimhen's age, you wouldn't have advised him to go to the Saudi Pro League. No. And for me, I think Victor Osimhen... And that's what Napoli really wanted. Yes, because they want to
cash out. They want to make money. And for Victor Osimhen, his career is in jeopardy. It's on the line out there. So for me, I think I respect Victor Osimhen's stand for him to hold his ground. In fact, and this is going to tell the rest of the European club that Africa, we have integrity. We have pride, because this is what is signified. And at this point, Victor Osimhen, in fact, have fired his agent, talking about Roberto Calenda, because in the midst of this transfer brouhaha and, you know, so issues here and there that have lingered, it behoves on your agent as a very good and a very sound agent that means well for his client to look for a way out. There is a kind of agent, the agent of Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, before a twinkling of an eye, he has struck a deal. Even before you could say Jack, he has already struck a deal for his. So
by now he should be in the Premier League. By now, if there's a manager,
honestly,
he should, this Galatasaray deal would have been struck with another club. Even Arsenal would pay this money. Honestly speaking,
Arsenal
would pay this money
because Arsenal need an outright striker, and Arsenal were also was also going for Victor Osimhen, but just that they didn't make a move. They were waiting for the big money spenders to see if they can be able to get him. If they don't get him, they will come in at the nick of time to snap Victor Osimhen. So you don't need to do such business. Even when Osimhen was facing all this trouble, even at the last day of the deadline, as a very good and a very sound agent, you must have been able, honestly speaking.
A lot of clubs. I know how these things are done. I know the pressure. As the man at the center of it all, between between the club and Victor Osimhen, because Victor Osimhen will not go. It is whatever he tells Victor Osimhen that this is the bargaining power, and so he is at the center of it all. For him not to be able to pull a deal, to bring Victor Osimhen to England. After all, it's still a loan deal. That was the anger of Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen, okay, yes, they did not want to go to Chelsea on a loan deal. That's correct. But at that time, that was from on Thursday to Friday, Victor Osimhen wanted to leave the club.
Sure.
So what he was telling the club, but the man was saying, no, we cannot strike a deal. I mean, and that was, like you said, got him infuriated. And for him not to be able to strike that deal, it took a lot of others who had to bring in Turkey. Everything was arguing that our European transfer has not ended. But no, the Turkish league has some exception. And the other person is asking how, whereas the big leagues in Europe have ended. Why are we still having a transfer from Galatasaray?
Even the Saudi Pro League, when the English or top European leagues have ended their transfer, the Saudi Pro League transfer window is still open. And I think, like I said earlier, if it was to be agent like George Mendes, I tell you, there's nothing on earth before less than 24 hours he has wrapped up a deal for his clients out there. And I think that Victor Osimhen truly understands what he's doing, and he understands what he wants, and he stick to his price tag, he maintain his value. How can you just frozen an African footballer of the year, current African footballer of the year, and a player that finished 8th in the Ballon d'Or award, currently, I'm not saying the past, and he just want to, tarnish and rubbish his image that way? No, this is a player that helped you to leave the Scudetto after 33 years, putting smiles in the faces of Napoli fans, bringing glory and joy to the city of Naples.
True.
And this is the way you pay him back after he was even ready to stay more years with the club. In fact, if Victor Osimhen
he did everything he did for the club.
Yes, if he was not loyal, he would have left.
Last year.
At the last year, when the ovation was still very high.
And when his contract was over.
Exactly.
His contract was supposed to be over this year. He added 2 more years on that contract. Just to let them know that it's not about the money. But it's about the love I have for you. So please cash out on me, because you gave me the fame. What a loyalty. But this is what he said. I mean, 3 a.m., Turkish fans were already waiting for Victor Osimhen. And the arrival was like the triumphant entry. I watched that one over and over again. I asked myself, man, so an African player can be loved like this?
Sure.
Truly, there's this respect for Victor Osimhen. And this is what he has spent down for his fans. He said, dear fans, friends, and everyone who has supported me through every high and low. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you all. Your love, prayers, and unwavering support have been a source of immense strength for me. In football, just as life, there are moments of triumphs and moments of challenge. This is one of these challenging times, but I stand before you with a heart full of determination and hope. I've always believed that setbacks are setups for comebacks. I may be down for now, but I am not out. This is just a pause in the journey. A time to reflect, recover, and rise again. I want you all to know that I will be back stronger and better than ever before. Football is not just a game to me, it is a passion, a dream I've lived since I was a child. Every time I step into the pitch, I do it with pride, knowing that I represent not myself, but also my family, my team, and every single fan who believes in me. I carry your hopes, your dreams, and your expectations with me, and I promise I will not let you down. In the coming days and weeks, I will be working harder than ever before to recover, to improve, and to make sure that when I return, I will bring even more joy, excitement, and success to all of you. I'm more determined than ever to achieve great things, not just for myself, but for all of us. Thank you for standing by me, for lifting me up when I needed it most. Your kindness, your belief in me, it all means more than words can express. So, here's my promise to you. I'll be back. I'll be stronger. I'll be braver and more passionate than ever before. Together, we will reach new heights. This is not just the end, but just the beginning of something even greater. Thank you, and I can't wait to see you all soon on and off the pitch with all my heart. Victor Osimhen, Mike.
Very emotional, very, very heart, warming message out there from a man who has passed through a lot in the transfer saga for these few weeks out there. Coming back to pen down this kind of emotional, message to the fans out there. I think he speaks volume of the fact that he truly take into cognizance the support of the fans out there. These same fans all across the globe, especially Nigerian, also stood for him, and fought for him. When Napoli, when that TikTok social media handle went viral, where he was mimicked after losing a penalty, so many of his fans and supporters are there, stood in for him. They fight so hard until even the admin of the TikTok that published that message was actually sacked away from Napoli. So for me, I think it's a clear testament to the fact that Victor Osimhen truly know and understand that a lot is expected of him, and there's need for him to also always carry his fans along.
I need for him to carry his fans along, and I wish we have more time. But Joshua Kimmich is now announced as the new captain of Germany, a new era with this young man.
Yeah, for Jürgen Nagelsmann, the German, coach, I think he's seen a future, in the Joshua Kimmich because of, not about age, but about maturity. Even according to him, in their WhatsApp group out there, he is the leader in their WhatsApp group, followed by Anthony Rudiger of Real Madrid. And also, you could also understand that some of the big name players, maybe Manuel Neuer, some of them will soon retire very soon, and you need to start learning, the line of taking responsibility at this tender age. So for me, I think it's a very nice one. It
reminds me of Philippe Lam. When Lam was given the captain of the side, and he did so well, led them, break a lot of records, during his time. All right, but then what more can we say? A lot to be said, but Mike, Cristiano Ronaldo is not giving up on his national team anytime soon. So for those of you praying that he should leave, the man is saying, I will not leave anytime soon. No, I will play for my country until whenever I decide to leave.
Yeah, he's a player with a whole lot of history, both in the male and female football. He remained the greatest goal poacher as it is. 212 games played, 140 goals for the Portuguese national team side. One of the oldest players to play in this just concluded last Euro alongside his teammate, talking about Pepe. I think for me, he's very, very special player any day, anytime. And still very healthy, still ready to go, scoring goals for fun. Every appearances, every time he steps on the pitch, I mean, it's about record-breaking and record-setting.
Record-breaking and record-setting. Mike, time is not our friend, but then sports extraordinary goes to that man, Victor Osimhen. For anything, I mean, pulling this particular one, regardless of the challenges, a lot of players would not. I mean, I've seen a lot of transfer business, and those players ended up with the club, and it will be, that year will be over. Even, in fact, one player who also was stubbornly stayed back was Kylian Mbappe, but his was already decided even before. So we understood why he was stubborn to stay back with the club, regardless of, because his hope and mind wasn't with the club anymore. Victor Osimhen truly deserves.
For sure, truly.
Tomorrow we'll be back for the midweek edition of the show, and it promises to be a lovely moment, and it's going to be a superb. Thank you for being part of the conversation. Ekpo Temple is my name. I did the show with Man and Michael and to come away again tomorrow, side of trouble. It's one game football without violence.